Hey, what's up you guys? It's Six. Welcome back to my channel. So really quickly before we get into the main part of the video, I just wanted to mention a few things. So first thing, since the Patreon relaunched this month and April also happens to be my birthday, not all of April obviously, but it's my birthday month, I thought that it would be nice for me to give you guys a little gift as well. So if you join one of the physical reward tiers in the month of April, in this case those would be the Matcha Mail and Chamomile tiers, you'll be getting 5 free stickers alongside all of your April merch. So these stickers will be based off of the updated banner art for all of the tiers for Patreon. I just thought that they were really cute, so I decided to turn them into stickers. I'll have these available on Etsy at some point in time, but for now, patrons who join in April will get all of them early and for free. So if you like how these look, make sure you go check out the Patreon at patreon.com/six.studios. Again, remember that these free stickers only apply to the physical reward tiers. So the next thing is just a reminder that I am currently hosting a Draw This in Your Style. However, this is an Instagram exclusive. You're welcome to post it anywhere like TikTok or Twitter, for example. Just make sure you also post it on Instagram so I can count your entry towards the prize pool. And don't forget to tag me at six.studios and use the hashtag 6studios10k so I can see your entry. And thank you to everyone who's already joined so far. Your art is absolutely beautiful and I am blown away by the amount of people who are participating and how creative all of you guys have been getting with this Draw This in Your Style, I guess. That's how I can word it right now in my brain. Anyways, moving on to the video. So I did this illustration a few years ago. I think it was back in 2017 or 2018 as a test for creating speed paints. This is essentially, or rather not essentially, it was my first YouTube video ever. And so last year I decided to redraw it for my channelversary. It was 3 years on YouTube and I really was not thrilled with the end result. I changed a lot of things and I think I tried to add too much to it. I don't think I really captured the same energy as I did with the original piece. I gave her like an outfit. I changed her expression a little bit. I changed her pose. I did a different background. I moved things around and I think I was just trying to be too ambitious to be like, look at the massive improvement I've had. But I don't, again, like I said, I don't think it captured the same energy as the original piece. So instead, I decided to go back to it this year and reference the original image. Not what I would normally do is I would reference each year's iteration. So for example, my reindeer piece, I think I actually did look back at the original last December, but usually what I do when I'll do a redraw is I'll start with the first year, I'll do a redraw, and then next year, rather than referencing the original, I'll reference the previous years. But again, I did decide to reference the original image for this. It has a totally different expression. Last year, I think I viewed her vibes as more of like a soft and shy kind of expression, but I was looking at her face this year and I was like, she's got way more attitude. Look at her eyebrows. She's really smirky. She's got kind of like a quirked brow situation going on. So I definitely tried to capture that expression again. I also wanted to keep things relatively simple. Again, like I said, I think I tried to be too ambitious with last year's redraw. So this year I came back to a similar design with the flowers around her shoulders, not just like tossed onto the border like for last year. I also chose different flowers because the ones in the original are kind of just scribbles of like flowers from my imagination. They weren't like any type of flower in particular, except I think some of the rosier looking ones are supposed to be peonies. So I of course went with peonies again this year because they are my favorite flower. And I also added in a zinnia because it was close to the kind of scribbly original flower somewhat. I definitely was not picturing a zinnia when I made the original. I was just kind of like, I think maybe it was like closer to a chrysanthemum or something, just something with like a lot of small condensed petals, but I don't know flowers very well. I really want to research more plants and flowers and their meaning so that I can incorporate some more of, you know, floral elements into my artwork, because usually when I want to make a flower, it's always a peony. So I definitely want to you know, look into some more of that. Anyways, like I said, I decided to go with a zinnia because it popped into my brain, and I thought that it looked similar enough to the original. And I also did like the meaning, because I did look up the meaning of both zinnias and peonies to see if it was something that I wanted to express in my work and for this piece. So I did a zinnia. I also did less flowers too, and instead added a stem, because I thought the shape of the stem was really nice for like the flow and to draw attention to the collarbones, which I thought was really neat. I know something that you want to keep in mind when working on illustrations is always things like composition, but also movement, how your eyes are drawn throughout a piece. And so I thought the stem, again, was really nice to kind of draw your eye across the figure. So that is what I did there. I had a really interesting time doing the line art for this piece, because the original is just so different from my style proportion wise. For example, the neck is super slim. I also did the neck in a way different style than I normally do for this piece, because I just was so floored by the original that I was like, how do I fix that? But also, like, when I tried to do it like how I normally draw them, I was like, it's just looking really weird. So I kind of tried a little different shape there. The eyes and jaw were also really difficult, because I tend to draw people with a stronger jaw now, like a definitely sharper kind of angular jaw, or if I'm doing something rounder, you still see the outline of some sort of jaw. But for this, it's really smooth. It's really like a soft jaw, which I kind of want to go back to for some pieces, at least some character illustrations, because I do think that despite the kind of, you know, more beginner proportions in this illustration, I definitely think that look is really pretty and really cute. So I do want to draw back to that at some point. And the lips also were so small. I don't know why I drew them so like squished like that. I definitely when I draw illustrations now, when I draw my characters, I try to keep in mind that the corners of the mouth are usually going to fall in line somewhere towards the middle of the eye. But back then it looks like I was just following the edges of the nose, which is not at all accurate. So yeah, I definitely struggled with trying to illustrate the same character while also fixing some of the proportions, and I definitely had a hard time with that, as you can see based on how often I whip out the liquify tool in this video, especially around the eyes and the jaw. But I do recall doing it around like the nose and the mouth and the hair and just the everything basically, which I don't often tend to do. Usually by the time that I'm in the line art stage, I do not mess with the lines at all when it comes to recording. But for some reason, I was just really nitpicky with this piece. So, but however, despite being nitpicky with the line art, the coloring phase was so easy peasy. I did cheat a little bit and I color dropped a bit from the original piece, but I also tried to adjust all of the colors slightly to be more saturated or maybe a different hue or tone, because back then I used to use pretty desaturated colors for skin and stuff like that, because I didn't understand things like undertone or anything like that yet. So I just was kind of like, this is tan, that's a color, I'm gonna use that one. No. I also only ever color dropped the base tone, as with my previous work around that time. In addition to me just kind of having things be desaturated in general, I would also just use darker versions of the same color to add shading. But now I know how to add a little bit of interest. I know a little bit more about color theory and how to mess around with that a bit. So I only color dropped the base tones so that I could pick my own shading colors, because they were not going to be good if I color dropped them, especially the skin. Just the skin was so strange. The eyes, however, were really fun, because I tried to go back to that blurry eye technique that I've done a few times, but with a little bit of a flourish, because I added some blue around the iris. Because if you look really closely at an eye, and I mean like really closely, it has like a bluish sort of halo around it regardless of your iris color. I have brown eyes, I have this. I don't know if it's normal, but I have it, my partner has it. I'm assuming it's normal. Anyways, I I wish that I had done this a little bit more intentionally, because the technique took me way longer than usual, because I didn't start out painting the eye with this idea in mind. I just was like, let's do that blurry eye thing. And then as I was doing the shadow in the eye, I remembered the previous day I'd done a sketch commission where I did like this like blurry sort of edge to the eye, and I was like, whoa, idea. And so I had to do a lot of backtracking in order to make that work, because I'd already done things like merged layers and, you know, all this other stuff. So I did have to do a lot of backtracking in order to get that to work properly. So again, I wish I'd had that in mind so that I could have executed that a little bit better. I'm also really miffed about the hair, because it reads a lot more blue to me than green like it is in the original. So that's something that I will have to keep in mind if I do this redraw again in the future. I do still like how her hair turned out. I do think it's a pretty color. I just think that it's definitely a drastic shift between like this mint can fall under a lot of different colors for me. This is the original video, and I believe I titled this as well, like just Mint Elf Speedpaint was the original. And mint can fall under a lot of different hues. It could be like yellowy green, it could be like bluey green, it could be like more of a light truish green. So mint is very vague, but I liked to keep it more towards the green spectrum. But I think today I definitely, you know, it reads a lot more blue. So I'm gonna definitely have to adjust that next year if I do this again. I also struggle again a lot with the expression for this iteration, but overall I think it is much truer to the original piece. It gives off a way more similar vibe in comparison to last year, because I feel like it has almost like an entirely different personality. And here's what last year's looked like, in case you forgot. If you want to see me illustrate that, the video will be in the iCard somewhere, I'm sure, and I'll also try to link it in the end card if I remember. Anyways, all those struggles aside, I do really like this version of the piece. I'm glad I decided to tackle it again. I definitely think that, especially in comparison to last year's, it is a lot more similar. There's definitely some things that I want to change about it for next year, but I think you can definitely see my growth and improvement more in this one as well, because it's more like the original. So it's not like two different artworks and like, duh, you've improved, but like you didn't really tackle the same exact subject. In my opinion, I feel like I took some of the colors and kept things kind of similar, but in general it almost was an entirely different subject, an entirely different piece rather than a redraw. So I am glad that I decided to tackle it again. But anyways, what do you guys think? Which version of this redraw is your favorite? And while you're here, I want to give a huge shout out to my patrons: Elise Thompson, Duran, Mandy, Sleeps, Created by Twins, Inky Moo Art, Steph, and our newest patron, Psychwalker13. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for your support. Don't forget, if you guys join either the Matcha Mail or the Chamomile tier before the end of April, you will get 5 free stickers alongside all of your monthly merch. And also don't forget, we have that ongoing Draw This in Your Style. I would love to see your guys' art. Anyways, I love you guys so much, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.